What does it take for Arsenal this season to get ahead of Pep Guardiola and Man City?
114 points. If we do that, we win the league for sure.
Literally 1 point off that magic number. You were so close, Mikel. Arsenal are in a very interesting position at the moment, the second best team in the Premier League with clear upwards projection. It's a good time to be a gunner. This is a visualization of their points tally over the last 5 seasons. Obvious to see that Arteta and the boys are building towards something. Last season, with 89 points, they were just 2 off Manchester City, and it came down to the last moments of the season. Arteta is right. They need perfection. Can they deliver? Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tinashe. If you're like me, then you're kind of hooked to all the preseason news and how teams are navigating through their preseason preparations towards what's probably going to be a pretty juicy Premier League season, I think at least. Arsenal were just in the US, and something I feel I have to comment on is the perception around the club at the moment. Everywhere you look, you'll find articles and interviews about the togetherness that exists within the club right now, how they're so tightly knit and close together. From BBC to The Guardian to The Athletic to Reddit to my brother who's on my couch right now yelling that this is going to be Arsenal's year for the 21st time in a row. He's an Arsenal fan. And you can't really blame all the people that are saying these things. Like I said at the start of the video, this is a great time to be an Arsenal fan. I would say the best time in over 2 decades. The propaganda machine coming out of that US tour is also in full flow. A full suite of senior and youth players were taken along, and it seems like the integration between players at all levels went quite successfully. Lots of positive news coming out there. In the friendly versus Manchester United, Arsenal won in regular time, but a penalty shootout was arranged because why not? Onana. I never want to see this ever again. Cut that out. Also, Lenny Yoro, Rasmus Højlund, and Marcus Rashford picked up injuries in the preseason so far, and it looks like, at the very least, all of them but Rashford are completely out for the start of the season, which is exactly what you want to hear, I guess. You can kind of just go ahead and throw away this video that I posted in the trash. I'm not crying. You are. Arsenal still have a couple more preseason games to go, so we can monitor their progress there and see how things go along, but until then, let's take a look at the team they have right now. This over here is Arsenal's most used formation and look from last season. Of course, we had Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, and Smith Rowe as squad players, but these were the players that started. Also, Smith Rowe has left for Fulham, and Nketiah looks like he's off to Marseille. Both Arsenal Academy products, which is always a tough blow, especially because I think these two were 2 of the most prominent faces for Arsenal, this new look Arsenal, when Arteta began to figure things out. David Raya has been made a permanent signing, and Ramsdale is better than a second choice, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets packing. In any case, here we go. Of this graphic, which part stands out to you the most? That's right, the position that has 3 players on it, and that's not even including Jurrien Timber, who started at left back on the opening day of last season. He played 45 minutes, then sat the rest of the season out. It's tough. But Arsenal look like they found a solution to their problem. Riccardo Calafiori, an Italian defender that has played more games at centre-back than at left-back over the last 2 years, but fits the bill for both. There's versatility in there. £42 million all in all. If you believe all the news, Arsenal have been after him for months, with Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and all the usual suspects also in the race. If you watched Italy at the Euro, it's likely that you were not impressed with what you saw. I don't blame you. But Calafiori was a shining star for them. Very easy on the ball, good in the air, and he's not a bad looking guy, so don't watch Arsenal games with your girlfriend, I guess. And on another note, on Calafiori, he's a student of Thiago Motta. Thiago Motta and Mikel Arteta spent several years together at Barcelona at the turn of the century. Both masterful midfielders, and both having caught a lot of attention in the public eye over the past couple of years for being very young managers and doing really well in Europe. Motta most recently because he's just led Bologna to their best finish in a Serie A season for decades. And with the return of Jurrien Timber, it's almost like Arsenal have signed on 2 new, fresh, versatile defenders, which is great news. It kind of reminds me of the days when Wilshere or Ramsey or Walcott used to get injured and then they would come back after many, many months out and it would be like a new signing. You know what I mean? But seriously, this is great news. With Arteta's preference for swift interplay, the fact that both of these guys can play across the back line, and the fact that Arsenal had the best defensive record out of any team in the league last season, all things point up. We want to improve in everything. Attacking metrics, defensive metrics, restarts, set pieces. Apart from that left back position, when I look at all the moving pieces that are in play for Arsenal, it's really hard to scrutinize what they have going on. Sure, I think some of you may point towards the top end, where we have Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. Maybe something needs to be done there. Well, maybe you need to rethink that position, because Arsenal were the second most potent team in the league last season. 91 goals scored, second to City's 96. There is room for improvement there, sure, but I think they have what it takes to make those improvements in-house. Kai Havertz was arguably the most improved player in the league over the course of last season. He seemed to just get better at everything as the season progressed, going in for those headers, moving in seamlessly into the box. He was great. Admittedly, I'm not totally convinced of Gabriel Jesus as a striker. He just doesn't really do it for me there. He's not dominant enough, but man oh man is that guy a menace going forward. I think there was a game against Bayern Munich, or it might have been Porto in the Champions League, where he gets the ball at the edge of the box, and what happens after that is just magic. He dances in the box and just does some deft movements, slides it to Trossard for the finish. It was a series of quick, short movements, but man oh man was it effective and memorable, for me at least. Arsenal's top scorer in the league last season was Bukayo Saka with 16. Trossard, Havertz and Ødegaard played their parts too. Still, people often say you need a 20+ goal season from at least one player to win the league. It makes sense, I guess. A lot of the best Premier League winning sides have had strikers that score, at will. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense or helps anyone to get caught up in the numbers like that. If Son had scored that goal against Man City in the penultimate game of the season and Arsenal win the league, then, I don't think Arsenal's goal scoring gets called into question. Bukayo Saka seems to be enjoying his downtime. I'm not gonna lie, seeing him post pictures on holiday onto his Instagram, it was a little bit strange for me to see, But if you look closely in all these pictures, you can see Mikel Arteta getting closer and closer in frame. Back to work, buddy. In my honest opinion, and I may be wrong, I don't think Arsenal have all that much left to do. Their squad is almost nearly perfect for what they really want to do and what they want to achieve. I know Mikel Merino is on the radar for them, and I'm not going to act like I know that much about him apart from that headed winner he scored against Germany in the Euro quarterfinal. Now, we do know that competitive cycles for most great teams tend to be about 2 or 3 seasons before a major rebuild is required. We've seen this with all the great teams in the Premier League. Arsenal are now in their 3rd season of what I would call one of their great teams in the Premier League. Last season, they were only 1 point off their invincible points tally, which, as you know, is their highest points tally in the Premier League era. But also, as we know, it wasn't enough. It takes near perfection to beat this Manchester City side. We all know this. The only team that beat them in recent memory was Liverpool with 99 points. They have reached near inexplicable levels of perfection. Kevin De Bruyne either looks set to leave or will do so in a year because he's in the final year of his contract. I doubt he will renew. In my eyes, he's been the best Premier League player alongside Mohamed Salah in the last 5 years or so. Him leaving from that perspective sounds pretty bad, but then you realize that City won the Premier League with 91 points last season. Kevin De Bruyne is 33 years old. He missed 18 Premier League games through injury. He only played 6 full 90-minute matches across the entire season. Julian Alvarez was put in his place over the course of the year, and yeah, Alvarez looks like he might be on his way out too, going to Atletico Madrid or somewhere like that. But then you realize that City still have Oscar Bob, Phil Foden, Jeremy Doku, Savinho just signed, Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips is still a City player? Maybe Guardiola was right. Back to Arsenal, they have a stellar squad. Throughout the 2000s, I would say between 2006-ish to 2019, my brother and all of my Arsenal supporting friends would always say the same thing every single season. We just need 1 or 2 more signings and we'll be back. You know what, maybe they were right. Shout out to Arsene Wenger for actually making comments like that somewhat plausible. But now, the tune is different. It's a lot more hopeful, truthfully hopeful. In my eyes, they already have a side capable of winning the league. Of course, it's tough to say that Arsenal will win the league this year with Man City around and with Antony still playing for Manchester United. But it's hard to shake the feeling that Arsenal is on track to make their supporters' dreams finally come true. And there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about Arsenal. That's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.